welcome back to Women, Wine and Wisdom. I'm Naomi.
I'm Jimmy.
And today we are going to be talking about the myths in dating and relationships.
Yes, and marriages.
And marriages. Well, yeah, okay.
I feel like relationships and marriages cross over because a marriage is just an extended version of a relationship now.
Yeah. But I don't know if I comfortably know the myths in marriage. What is a myth in marriage?
Again, I think it's similar. So when we start talking about them, I'll be like, that applies to marriage too. So for example, the reason I'll get one example that I already have in my head is like a relationship should make you feel complete. So for example, a marriage should make you feel complete. But that's, to me anyway, that's a myth because I feel like you should be complete to the best you can be because we're always on a journey and we're always going to be improving and all of that. But I feel like one of the myths is that marriage should make you complete. So when you find this person, all of a sudden things are going to be amazing and everything's going to fall into place. No, honey. Okay. Yeah. That's why I say marriages as well. Because I feel like...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I guess it is a bit of an overlap because, dating does lead to marriage.
I mean, dating at our age definitely should lead to marriage. Yeah.
Should. But yeah. Okay. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So should we explain to the people why there's no bottle of wine here?
Well, there actually is a bottle of wine. But we forgot the wine glasses.
Oh dear.
Yes, again. So here we are. Well, with the wine, but without the wine glasses. So we're going to have an alcohol-free episode by force. Thank you. We're watching our health. Yeah. So, okay. I mean, one myth from me straight away would definitely be like a marriage or a relationship should make you feel complete. I personally feel like you are on your own journey in life always, and then you join somebody on that journey. You need to both be complete to a certain extent and not be dependent that the other person's going to make you feel better or the other person's going to make you happy, because ultimately everything starts with you. If you're unhappy, you're probably still going to be unhappy in that relationship. 100%. If you don't feel complete or things aren't going the way you want, just because you get married, it's not going to. It's almost like when people have kids, when to kind of save their marriage and it just doesn't work. You can't be 100%. Trying to add things to an empty barrel. You need to fill that barrel up yourself, and then go into that next relationship or marriage or dating or whatever it is.
I totally agree. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, my saying, thrive in your singleness.
Absolutely.
So it's important to know who you are before you get into a marriage, know who you are before you get into dating, because it is important to feel complete and whole within yourself before looking for that in an external partner, because they're completely not going to be able to complete you. If you're suffering with depression, a partner is not going to fill that void. You're going to come back around and
they can support you.
But they're not going to
fill it.
Exactly. You have to still do the work to come out of that depression. So couldn't agree more. I think one for me is that love conquers all.
Yeah, definitely not. Absolutely not a chance. But yeah, no way.
As we know, love is not ever enough. There's more to it than loving somebody. You still need to put in the work. You still need the effort to be there. So you can't just sit on the fact that, because we love each other, that's enough. And that's all. It's not.
We always say to you guys, and we say it to ourselves, that love has conditions. Yeah. So, I completely agree with you. Yeah. There's logic in love. You're going to see an episode about that too. Because I feel like it's actually important that we let people know why there's logic in love. Yeah. So love that one. Completely agree. It depends on who you are as a person again, but if you're an overthinker, for example, you might get a lot of doubt. As women as well, I feel like sometimes we get a lot of doubt. We get a flurry of emotions that's kind of overwhelming. And it's like, oh my God, I'm doubting him doing this. I doubt him doing that. I doubt this. And then all of a sudden, because of all these doubts, you're like, I'm not going to enter. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to enter. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like people think that in relationships and like dating, especially dating actually in this one, like doubt means don't. No, sometimes doubt is just you being fearful.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So that's one myth, I think. Because it's like, oh yeah, I'm doubting it. Things aren't going right. Maybe you're an overthinker and you're just thinking about things that don't exist. Yeah, maybe you're making up scenarios in your mind that just don't exist.
100%. Yeah. It's the what if. It's the false events appearing real.
As she said.
Don't let fear prevent you from jumping into a situation that could actually be something really good.
Yep, exactly. So that's definitely one for me. Doubt means don't.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think another myth for me is that opposites attract.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Because whilst it's important to have differences, I think it's also very important to have similarities and common ground. Yep. It's important for you to be able to have shared values and shared opinions and views on things. how can you want to go and live in Timbuktu and your partner wants to live in, I don't know,
Miami.
Exactly. It's not always that opposites attract. Sometimes that can actually cause a lot of friction in your relationship. So I think whilst some differences are good, I think you both should also have a lot of similarities.
I completely agree. And just to follow on from that point, I think that people always think, even though opposites sometimes attract and sometimes it might not always work, I think people also always think that when you're in a relationship, you always need to be on the same page. And I think that's a myth. Yeah. Sometimes you're actually not going to be on the same page, and that's actually okay. Because sometimes you can obviously have a disagreement and you can agree to disagree and you can leave it as that. I think people always think all the values are going to be shared. That's not always the case. Like everything I want, for example, I want to live here, I want to have this, I want to have that. They might not have that same vision. He wants to have 4 kids, I want to have 2 kids. Things might not always be aligned. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a myth. What do you think?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you're not always going to be on the same page, and I totally agree with that, and I hear that entirely. Yeah. But I think there should be elements of similarity. Because, for example, like, imagine I don't believe in marriage and you do, then that's not going to work. Yeah, it's a non-starter. But if it's a case of I want 2 kids and you want 4, then I think we can probably agree to meet at the middle, because relationships are going to be all about compromise as well. Yeah,
which is why you're not always going to be on the same page. You can agree to disagree.
Exactly. So I think there's a difference between, say, if I said I didn't want any kids and my partner is saying he wants kids, versus I want 2 to he wants 4. Yeah. Then we can agree, we can negotiate. So I think it's, there's a bit of a a bit of a line in between it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's actually okay not to always be on the same page. No,
100%. Yeah. Like I always say, like, we're 2 individual people. So ultimately,
raised by 2 different families.
We have 2 different perspectives on life. So we're gonna, everyone's gonna have an opinion. And I think that's sometimes the beauty of a relationship, when you can sit down with your partner and you're both discussing things together and, talking about your day and, talking about your view on something, and you propose your view on something. You're never going to be on the same page, like you say. Yeah, but I think it's just making sure that there's a level of similarity on your views and how you want to see your life, where you see your life going.
Yeah. And we love I love a debate. You love a debate too. So like, I literally will ask anything. And the thing is, I will play devil's advocate. So even if I don't agree with what I'm saying, which most of the time I'm definitely saying what I think. But sometimes I will just ask questions to other people to be like, let me see what you really think. Do you get what I mean? Or let me see where this is coming from, because I'm quite curious. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I like to ask questions. So for me, we don't always need to be on the same page, but obviously there's definitely certain values that just need to be on the same page. Yeah, for sure.
No, I agree. I think another one for me is that if it's meant to be, it will be.
Oh, we might disagree on this one. Go ahead.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We'll wait to hear her point.
Go ahead.
So another one for me is, if it's meant to be, it will be. And that's just basically talking about leaving things to chance. And for me, I feel like you do have to work hard to make a relationship work. So I don't feel like you can just sit there and leave it to chance and not have any influence on whether or not this relationship is going to make it.
Yes. So that I do agree with. But the whole, like, what will be, sometimes, the thing is, sometimes fate is just fate. So while I do agree in terms of that you have to put in work, because that's actually one of my my points, is that my myths is that a relationship is meant to be easy. So we'll come back to that.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. But at the same time, I do feel like what will be. And there are, for example, I know of many women who have been in relationships, right? And they've met somebody and they're like, that's going to be my husband, but they're already in a relationship. And 4 years later, 5 years later, they end up with that person, because what will be. Sometimes, not always, hear me out, not always, but you can't just always leave things to chance. I feel like when you are actually in a relationship, the myth is that it's going to be easy because we love each other and blah, blah, blah. But to be honest, relationships are hard work.
They
are, because
every day you're having to choose your partner. Every day you're having to wake up and say, I choose you.
Yeah. And then obviously things might change, accidents happen, what's it called? The finances might be off. You might not love them as much today. But do you know what I mean? So it's like relationships are meant to be easy. If you're going through financial difficulty, that's not going to be easy. If you're going through bereavement, that's not going to be easy. If you're in the hospital and needing treatment, that's not going to be easy. So I think people think relationships is flying to Dubai and doing vacation.
Oh, it's not.
Do you know what I mean? But really, it's the nitty gritty of, you're my life partner. I pick you every day. And I have to, when I go out into the world, I have to represent you. You have to represent me every day. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to be in a club, for example, dancing on somebody knowing that I've got a man at home, right?
No, of course.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like, relationships seem like they're meant to be easy, but on the surface it's actually a lot of work, because you're not only just dealing with you, but you're dealing with, if you're in a serious relationship or committed, you're dealing with their extended family who can be annoying. You're dealing with their friends who can also be annoying.
Not annoying. What would you do though if you had a partner who had an annoying family?
You know me, you know my house, I'll stay in my house. The thing is, because the thing is, I don't like to argue because I don't see the point. This, like, the argument is already a waste of time. And I feel like when it comes to families, you tread on a fine line.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you know, like, this is a partner that you want to build a future with and you want to marry, you have to, like, do you feel like you would have to hit the nail on the head and actually address some of your concerns?
Yes. Do you know what? Let's talk about, what do you do, if you have an issue with your partner's mum? Ladies, I actually want to hear from you.
Yeah,
I'm very curious.
Us.
Yeah,
I really want to know.
Because what do you do then? Because obviously there's certain things, culturally, there's certain things we won't be able to say, right? But the thing is, you should check your mum still.
Do you know what? I think for me personally, I would want to have a conversation with my partner.
Yeah, straight up.
I'll be like, you need to talk to your mum.
Yeah, that's what you do. Tell him to check your mum. Yeah,
because
you don't go and talk to the mum.
No, some people would. Yeah, you be looking. Some people would. Some people feel comfortable enough to say, I'm going to address your mum, because why is she doing that?
No, I feel like you should only address the mum, when the man's not man enough to address his mum. That's the thing. So for me, if I wanted my partner to address his mum, let's say she did something to me, I would go to him first. If she's done something to me 3 times, 4 times, and you haven't addressed anything, because at some point I'm going to snap. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So me personally, I always think, go to your partner first. And the next question though is, what if your partner doesn't agree with you? What do you then do? Because you know what? Sometimes, and I've experienced this, men see things so differently to women.
No, they do.
So like, let's say, let's say your mum told me to do something, and I didn't really want to do it, but I did it anyway just because we're in the house, there's people, I'm not trying to embarrass either of us, Now let's say she's done that same thing 5 times, and I've told you every single time she's done it, and you've not said anything. What do we do then? Because, and let's say it's a serious relationship and you're going to get married, because now this is the woman you're going to deal with for the rest of your life. What do we then do?
Oh my gosh, this is a difficult one, because I think, I don't know, you highlight so many things. At this point, you've boxed me into a corner. I don't even know how I can answer this. Like, if he doesn't agree, then what can I do? I think at some point, sometimes you have to cut your losses. And I think when you're in...
You're going to cut your losses with a mother-in-law?
No. I think it depends on the nature of the conversation, like what's happening.
Yeah, of course.
Like, if it's just, that apparently I didn't ask her if she wants food and you agreed with her, I mean, I'm going to try and have a conversation with you. And if you're not trying to hear me or listen to what I've got to say, then I'm just going to be like, do you think that's the thing? Worth arguing and creating a massive issue here. And I'll just be like, okay, do you know what? Sorry. Sorry. And then move on. But also, I would want to understand, where did I go wrong, in order for me to, because maybe it's the way I did something that to her was received wrong.
Of course.
And so I want to better understand, okay, let's talk about what's happened here. Yeah. Like, what have you misunderstood here, and how? But would you talk? You can't talk to
the mum like that, can you? No, would you talk to the? Like, you talk to your partner,
because if he's so headstrong, you must know something that I don't know.
Facts.
So
facts.
Let's
I hear
talk
that
about it.
But that's just me being. That's us being
diplomatic.
Yeah, not diplomatic. You clearly know something. That's us being not diplomatic. Yeah, I don't know. So I think it's just a really interesting one, because I feel like they're people you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life.
That's what I'm saying. That's why sometimes you have to cut your losses, in terms of, not cut your losses as in end of relationship, but cut your losses in terms of, like,
just say sorry and
move on, because you got to think, is it worth it?
To be honest, for me, there's only so many times I'm going to hold my mouth.
But if you're in a marriage,
don't care.
You'd walk out of the marriage.
It's not about no. I won't walk out of the marriage. Okay. But I will, if it's something like, I don't know what I'm trying to think of an issue that would really annoy me. But if it was something that really annoyed me and my husband couldn't check me because it was his mum, I wouldn't let it slide.
So then, at what point do you cut it off? Because let's say he's refusing to see your side, and he's just seeing his mum's side.
Yeah, then that's fine. Go and date your mother.
So you're gonna leave the relationship?
I'm not saying I'm gonna leave the relationship, but the thing is, because see what you said in terms of, like, there are parts of the time where you just say sorry. I feel like there are many times where I would do that. So if I feel like I'm bringing up an issue and you, in all the times, in the 5 times that I've let things slide, and you can't see my side, that in itself is an issue. And because the thing is, your mother, yes, she raised you, she like birthed you. I still respect your mother. It's not an issue. But what happens then is that if I have to keep saying sorry every time, I'm going to resent you anyway. And then I'm going to not be coming to your house, and then you're not going to be seeing your grandchildren. So you might as well address that issue now.
I feel like it's easier said than done. I feel like I've seen quite a few in-law.
I've seen a lot of in-law drama. That's why, but that's why I wouldn't let it slide. Because I feel like when you let too many things slide, you're.
But then that's why it's quite important to establish those relationships at the jump, and also establish if there is a problem with your in-law, how best we would address it going forward. Because, for example, in the dating stage, I would probably speak to my partner and just try to understand if I disagreed with your mum or your siblings or whatever. How would you like me to approach it?
Facts. Very good question to ask. I like that. But they're going to lie anyway.
They're going to lie until they're in the situation, of course. But
because you know why? The thing is, because they don't actually ever really... The problem is, I feel like when you have 2 women and you're the man that's in the middle, it's very difficult. Because it's the woman that you love and the woman that you also love, but obviously in 2 different ways. But there's just certain things that I feel like if I've had to check your mum 5 times in terms of I've come to you and I've said to you, babe, I need you to address this, and you don't address it. If I blow up one day and then me and your mum don't speak for 2 years, it's your fault. It's actually your fault.
Men will just sit there and say, I don't want no trouble.
That's it.
It's just
but if you don't want no trouble, it's better that you address it now. Because...
But I think it's particularly hard if you're from certain cultures. I'm going to take the Yoruba culture in particular because that is the culture I'm from. And so it's the one that I can resonate with the most. We are ageist in our culture.
Absolutely. But
so
just
even if their mum is as in so wrong, like beyond wrong. In fact, we saw CCTV footage and we can confirm that you're incorrect, but she's still standing strong. What do?
Walk out. Bye. I'm not even dealing with that. Sorry. Do you know what the thing is? So let's talk about that, because that's also another thing. So like for me personally, don't get me wrong. If you're just because you're older, doesn't mean you automatically get respect. In our culture, yes, you do. But if you're acting like a big fool, I would definitely...
Someone's mum acting like a big fool.
If you're acting like a big fool, you'll definitely know. And the thing is, I feel like in my house, for example, there's loads of adults that are like much older. But the thing is, to get respect, you need to be respectable. And I can't bring my children around you and you're going to be teaching them to be headstrong and wrong. Sorry, that doesn't make sense.
Nah, Jimmy, in the Yoruba culture,
I know, but the thing is,
they will be wrong and strong.
But you know what the thing is? I've also checked people in my own house. Like, do you know what I mean? Let's say aunties or whatever. And when I've spoken to other people about it, they're like, I could never do that. But that's a you problem. So the thing is, and this is why I would definitely expect my man to check it, because if my mum did something to my boyfriend, I would tell her, Mum, why would you do that?
But then sometimes, do you not feel like there are times where you can't be so impartial? Because you may think your mum has done nothing wrong, but maybe your partner feels she has. Or your partner doesn't necessarily agree with something that she done.
Exactly. But there's a difference between it happening once, twice, and 5 times. Do you see what I mean? Because, and again, let's call a spade a spade. We're going to know we know our mums.
Yeah.
You know your mum. If she's being extra, tell your mum she's being extra.
No, but we're already mothers and sons.
That's what I'm saying.
Mothers and sons.
This is what I'm saying.
Because if I start,
they will cry.
If I start.
But yeah, no, I just feel like I would if my mum was doing something to my partner, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be rude. I'm going to be like, Mum, there was no needs.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it that make sense.
But what about if you agree with what your mum did, but your partner didn't agree with what she did?
I've been in that situation too, and to be honest, he was in the wrong. So I sided with my mum. You're wrong.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
We're so off topic, but yeah, go on.
We are so off topic. We're going to wheel it back shortly. But if your mum did something, let's say, just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
And you don't think what your mum did was necessarily wrong, but your partner didn't like what your mum did because he just he's not from that world. So he's like, why is your mum doing that? Like, let's say, for example, your mum calls him, like, I don't know, every Sunday to do praise and worship. Oh my God. And you're thinking, well, what's the problem with that? That's just my mum praying for you.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I don't like that. Like, tell your mum to stop.
That is such an African parent thing to do as well. That's the funniest thing. But like, things like that, that's petty. That's a petty argument to me. So just even if you put the phone down and it's on mute and you're laughing at her, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Because there's certain things you can let slide. But then now, if my mum now calls you and is now shouting down the phone that you didn't receive her prayer, and she hangs up on you. Then I'm like, Mum, why did you call him to be shouting? You get what I mean? But like, with the prayer one, I'm like, come on, you could literally ignore that. You can literally, there's small things you can let slide.
But then as a child, like if that's your parent, you might be like, we grew up doing this. This is something very normal, and it's not malicious. There's no malicious intent behind it.
But then again, you could also
if your partner doesn't like it,
I'll be like, Mum, it's not every weekend. It's not, happy Sunday, baby. It's not every. It's not every Sunday. Sometimes every other week.
He doesn't go to church, and then it becomes a problem.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go back.
Guys, let us know what you think. Is it up to the guy to check his mum? How many times should he check his mum before you? Now maybe it's not working.
That's actually funny. And if you want us to do an actual full episode on that, let us
know. Yeah, because that will be real interesting.
That is so funny. I think another one for me is that jealousy is a sign of love.
We might debate this. Go on. I like that though.
No, because ultimately, whilst I think, okay, a nice little bit of who you talking to is all right. Mm-hmm. I think a guy who is over possessive is not okay. Definitely. So if a guy is kind of hell-bent on being jealous every waking day, like you can't even look at a guy before he starts acting wild. Yeah. Like, I think it's not okay. It's insecure. He's insecure. And I think a relationship should be built on trust and like just loyalty.
Yeah, I do. So I hear what you're saying, and I do agree to a certain extent, because there's a difference between being slightly jealous and being controlling. I think genuinely as human beings, and I don't know if jealous is the right word, but I've definitely had discussions with friends where they're like, oh my God, my friend had got this, and I was feeling a little bit jealous, but also kind of inspired. That's not necessarily a bad jealousy. And I feel like sometimes when you're dating and then you get into a relationship, you're more protective of one another, which kind of like stimulates a little bit more jealousy.
But that's the thing. I think there's a healthy, there's a healthy balance, because I think that a little bit of anything is going to be somewhat good. Yeah. But I think when your partner is just outrightly jealous, and I'm talking extreme, like I'm talking, who you talking to? What's your password to your phone? Like just, there's no trust. Basically, if there's no trust in a relationship,
he's got a problem. Yeah, insecure, controlling, and definitely needs therapy.
100%. But if there's I don't think the whole he's jealous of me is so cute. I don't think that's a sign of love. I think you need to go seek help. He has no trust in you. There's no loyalty.
And we're not saying all jealousy. We're saying there's a healthy boundary to jealousy. So you need to find that for you.
If he's extreme with it, you can't breathe because he's always breathing down your neck, then it's not okay.
Yeah. I think another thing as well, and I think women in particular are really bad at this, but we think that our partners are mind readers. So I think that's definitely a relationship myth. It's like, oh yeah, he should know. Okay, but did you tell him?
No. Well, did
you remind him?
Yeah. And that's where communication is super important. And we bang on about this all the time, because he isn't going to just know what you're thinking, but through increased communication he may get a good idea of how you're feeling when you're behaving a certain way. But he's not a mind reader, so don't beat him up for not knowing to buy you flowers.
You need to tell him. And I think another thing that's also really important, and I was watching something on TikTok the other day, and this man said something that was really interesting, and it was basically like men like kind of filter out what we say. So like we might have said 20 things, they probably heard like 4. But what he was saying is that when his wife is communicating with him, when he hears 2 things, he's like, his ears actually open up and he's actually switched on. And I think it was something to do with I need and can you please.
Oh, interesting.
Which I thought was really interesting. So I feel like maybe find ways to communicate with your partner that he knows that when you say those words, you need something from him. Yeah. So I think that's one. Don't think a man's a mind reader. These men, they'll just leave you confused.
Do you feel like your partner is really good at knowing what you like and what you want without having to ask you?
Yes. I think he knows what I like and what I want 100%. Does he always get it right? No. But I feel like that's just going to be every relationship. It's like same for me. Like I know what he likes. I know what he's like. It's funny. His birthday's coming up, right? And so annoying. So many things he did that were really annoying, right? But like, so for example, I got him a PS5 game and like a few other bits. How about this boy turns around, and buys, and the reason why I'm saying a few other bits, is because if I say it and he will listen, he might hear. But I know that he likes certain things, and I don't like to get people presents that they're not going to use or need or enjoy. Yeah. But so I've got him lots of little bits and one big thing and then lots of little bits. I don't know if he's going to like all the little bits. Do you see what I mean? But I like them.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like, and it just reminds me of what you said about the massage, but like birthday that you booked. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's like, yes, you know what I like, but this might not be what I need right now.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Do you feel like your partner knows what you like and what you want?
Yeah, I think he's quite attentive, to be fair. I think he's more attentive than I am, to be fair.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's really attentive. So, like, for my birthday, he did everything that I had mentioned in the year that I wanted or hadn't done or whatever. And so he just took a mental note and listed all of that down.
Yeah.
And anything he was unsure about, he spoke to my best friend about. So it was just like, he just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, so every time.
Everything.
Or just because I'm like,
progressively, I feel like progressively as the relationship is growing, he's becoming more and more like on the money with the things that I want or the things that I like, or just knowing how to be the right man for me. So
yeah, progressively, ladies, remember that, because again, just to highlight for the people that are not going to be listening, you know, thinking,
you're not hearing,
progressively, because I could say the same, but I wouldn't say it's 100% of the time. Yeah. So, yeah, hear it.
Another one would be playing hard to get makes you desirable.
Oh, we spoke about this today at work. I'd completely disagree, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, because ultimately, I think being authentic is what usually would get the guy or get your partner. In both ways, to be fair. I think male or female.
I completely agree.
It's like, I think you being you is what makes you unique. And I think that's always going to be what makes you stand out.
Yep.
So I think when you're trying to play hard to get, you're essentially being a character, somebody that you're not. And that may not attract the right guy, because then he's thinking, oh, she's a thief in the night. But then really...
I was not expecting that.
I wasn't even expecting that. Or maybe she's Catwoman. I don't know. But like... you know, that's essentially not what, that might be what he found attractive initially, but then when you start to be your authentic self, he then loses interest because that wasn't the person you were at the start. So I think being yourself is likely to go a long way.
I completely agree. However, we say this, but we're not dating at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So I basically said what you said earlier today at work, and the guy was like, yeah, no. He was like, no, he's like, games need to be played small. So maybe we've been out the game for a while.
Yeah, maybe we're a bit old.
Yeah, because
I mean, let us know your thoughts. Like, if you feel like playing hard to get has worked in your relationship and finding somebody, or has it just worked in getting the attention, but it hasn't helped you maintain the attention?
Nope. Again, facts. Yeah. Another myth from me is that a baby will save your relationship.
Yeah.
No.
It will never.
No.
It won't.
It will not. Actually, babies tend to make things a little bit more difficult, especially in the first couple of years. So if your relationship's on the rocks and you think a baby is going to save it, your relationship is going to be more on the rocks.
Yeah. It'll be rocky.
Yeah. It'll be more on the rocks. So think about that before you decide, oh, yeah, you know, maybe we should have a baby and that's going to save our marriage. Nah.
No, it doesn't. Another one is that you can change your partner.
Oh yeah.
You can't.
You cannot.
I'm sorry, your partner is your partner.
Yep.
The partner you chose is the one that you be with. So yeah, you can't change a person. You shouldn't feel like you're getting into a relationship to change the person. And I think there is that kind of like saying or belief, shall I say, that a lot of people get into a relationship and they're like, yeah, when he falls in love, I'm gonna make him more of what I want. I'm going to mold him into the person that I want him to be. I'm going to mold him into my ex. Yuck. So
if you're molding anyone into your ex,
you got a problem.
You need help. Yeah. You need help.
No, but some people are just lost in souls. And I think some people want what they can't have sometimes, or they've just got a really bad misconception of what they think they want rather than what they need.
Yes.
And
that's a big thing, what you want and what you need.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people get confused with the idea that, oh, okay, I really want a guy who's tall, with a six-pack, who drives a nice car, who works in this bank and, you know, does all of this. But reality is you might meet a guy that's like that, but then he doesn't take you seriously, he doesn't treat you well. And it's not to say that all guys that are successful can't do that, but sometimes you're looking out for the wrong things in a guy, and you're not actually in tune with who you are and what you need to get you to that next level.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I hear it. I think another like relationship myth is that true love never fades. And as you were saying earlier, like, you know, there's logic in love.
Yeah.
So I think people often believe that, you know, oh, I loved him so much in the beginning and true love never fades. I personally do feel like love does fade. Yeah. And I feel like it's super important to be friends with your partner so you can rekindle that love over and over again later. Because let's be honest, like, it's hard. Relationships are hard, and sometimes they're just going to get on your nerves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be maybe 2 weeks where you don't like them and you don't want to speak. But you know what? What do you know? I'm not too sure if you know this or like, but they always say there's like a period when you get to in your marriage. Apparently the first year is really difficult and then year 5 is really difficult or something along those lines. Do you know what the years are?
I'm not sure on the years exactly, but I feel like it's every year when you talk to a married person. They're like, last year was a test.
Yeah.
And then, you know, but somebody else, it may not have been a test. It might have been the year that they rekindled things and, you know, things got onto a better, you know, it was continually to get, I can't speak. Anyway, but yeah, so I think it depends. I think every married person has different experiences and different challenges throughout their marriage. And I think somebody may say year 5 was hard, but somebody else might say year 5 was a fantastic year for them, and it was year 6 that was hard for them.
Yeah,
but typically, yes, there is generally like
I think there's
you have to get through year 1 first, because that's the year of butterflies and the honeymoon stage and all of this. And then, you know, once you pass year 1, it's year 3 might be a bit of a tipping point. Then I think it's year 5, then year 10. I think
the reason why I feel like year 1 can be quite difficult, I reckon it might be difficult if you potentially didn't live with your partner before.
Yes.
And then you start living with them.
110%.
Because the thing is, this sounds crazy, but you're slightly different when you're at home by yourself
100%.
and then when you're at home with your loved one.
Yeah.
So I think people will be like, wait, you leave your sock on the bath on the kitchen window. Do you know what I mean?
You don't close the lid on the toothpaste.
You know what I mean?
You squeeze from the middle, not the bottom.
Do you know? Oh my god! Now that you just said that, so I have a friend. Shout out him because he knows who he is. But he was like, if a girl doesn't squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom and fold the bottom, it's done. You can't do it.
But imagine, how can you end a whole relationship?
You said you can't do it.
No, but imagine. I need to understand. Can you bring him on the pod, please? I need to understand.
You like him though?
Why?
I'll show him after.
Nah, I need to understand why he feels that by not rolling and squeezing from the bottom, it means that you are not wifey material or that he can't be in a relationship with you.
Maybe it's his pet peeve. I didn't even ask because I thought it was ridiculous.
Maybe we need an episode on pet peeves because I would love to know. Like, there's
that would be a juicy one, but that would be juicy with some men on it.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, okay.
We'll talk. Yeah. But do you feel like that is enough to break off a relationship?
The toothpaste? No. The toothpaste is the most pathetic thing I've literally ever heard ever.
That is so wild.
When he said it, I was outraged.
He needs help. I think he needs to go to a psychologist. I'm
literally outraged. But no, I do feel like there are certain little things that... But the thing is, I've lived alone for so long. I know that in my head that there's certain things that I will need to adapt to.
So what do you feel that people should do in order to prepare for that moment when they do eventually live with their partner if they haven't lived with each other prior
There's no preparation.
Do you feel like dating somebody and staying at their, like if they both have their own place and they stay there like 4 days out of the week, that's preparing them, or going on holiday is a common one?
I feel like a holiday is a good like indicator. But even still, anybody can pretend for 1 week. Anybody can pretend for 2 weeks. There's a proverb, and I think it's either Chinese or Japanese, and they say that we have 3 faces. The one that we see, the one that everyone sees, and the one that our loved one sees. Now, your partner's your loved one, right? You know who you are really innately. So I feel like there's no preparation for me. Because, so you might notice like a few of their habits that you dislike when they come and stay with you. But it's different when it's permanent. That's the thing, because it's 4 days. I can live with like a few mess for 4 days, and then I'm going.
I was gonna say,
leave. I clean my house. I wash the bathroom, everything. But permanently,
because you don't know. At the moment, he could be hiding his boxes under his bed.
Yeah, it's facts there. And I'm pretty sure a lot of men do as well. I know a lot of men do as well. He's looking at us like, come on.
No, it's true.
You've been walking around,
there could be a mountain under your rug.
Not even that. You know when they don't even change their socks, and one hole there is rubbing at the bottom. Yeah, nah.
But you'll see that when you're living with them.
You'll see all of it. So I feel like it's. I don't really feel like there's anything that prepares you to live with somebody straight up. To be honest, I do feel like a holiday is a good indication of what it might be like, and maybe seeing each other regularly during the week. But until you live in that house with that person, and you start dividing up your chores and then the finances is being divided. You don't know that person.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, because
especially
like
most finances.
Because most of the time, in terms of like when you go and stay with your partner or they come and stay with you, you are providing whatever it is that's in your house at that moment. They're providing whatever it. Now you got to split it. Now you got to share. You know what I mean? I come back, you eat my yogurt. Why?
You ate my last night Chinese that I was saving for today. You ate it.
Exactly.
Hey.
So you just don't know what their habits are like.
Yeah, no,
but yeah, what's another myth?
What is another dating myth, my people? I
think while Nate is thinking about her myth, one from me would be like, there's only one true love. I feel like people think there really is only one true love. And don't get me wrong, I feel like you do have soulmates, but more than one. So you might be able to meet them at different times. And that's why I feel like people genuinely know. Like when you lie down and you go to sleep at night, I feel like you know if the person's the one for you. Like, but that doesn't mean you have only one the person. There's more than one the person for you.
I feel like this one is too controversial.
It is. That's why I said it.
It's massively controversial. I mean, I do believe that there's the one. So I don't feel like there's multiple people, because I believe that you will be. Am I going to contradict myself?
I'm about to say, Naomi, I know what you're about to say is not true because I've heard you say the opposite many times. But go on.
No, but ultimately, I feel like if I was born in Australia, then that's where I was meant to be.
No,
do you get what I mean?
Let me tell you something. The thing is, I agree to a certain extent, right, that there is one person, right? But I don't believe that there's just that one person. So I feel like you can have different, maybe let's say like you have different 4 or 5 soulmates
of love,
yes,
or something.
Do you know why I say that? Because if we had one soulmate, right, women wouldn't date so much.
No, I know, but I think that's part of the process of elimination.
No, but if
you finding that person,
the one, you should know. I shouldn't have to date 10 frogs to find my person. Do you know what I mean? Like, we date continuously.
But then I think that's just part of life. I think that's just part of life, to go on a journey. I don't think life is so straightforward. I think if life was so straightforward, I think a lot of us would have been coming out of the womb, walking, talking, and being successful right off the bat. But I think part of life, which is beautiful, is the kind of like the journey that you go on and seeing, like making the mistakes, learning from them, implementing things. Like life to me is all about lessons, and it's all about the lessons applied. So
I'm going to stop you just there for just one quick saying. So they say that, what's the saying? Like a wise man learns from his mistakes, but an even wiser person learns from somebody else's. So while that is true, bear in mind, guys, you can actually learn from other people's mistakes. You don't have to make... Don't get me wrong, I'm all about learning and growing, because I always say it, but there are also contradictions to it, because like you said, life is not a one size fits all. There are really different, but I feel like if there was only like one the person, people wouldn't move on, people wouldn't get divorces and marry somebody else.
But then I think that's because people have made the wrong decisions and wrong choices for themselves. Yes, that is true. Because for example, like somebody can make a wrong decision to marry somebody who they know wasn't right, because
a lot of people do.
Yeah, and a lot of people like are saying that. I learned from my friend Tayana. You regret what you allow.
Yeah.
And so if you allowed yourself to marry somebody who was just like somebody who you knew, actually, I'm not really all the way invested in this person, but they are, basically. But they're willing to propose to me and they're willing to give me the life that I envision for myself, then I'll just settle. But then they end up getting a divorce like 5 years later, or cheating or divorcing or whatever. So, so I feel like a lot of the times people know when they're making the wrong mistakes for themselves, but they will still go ahead with it because life will still continue.
Okay, that's a good point. But then I still stand on the fact that I feel like there's just more than the one, because I feel like women make people the one.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
But that's the thing. It's like we can create our own ideology in our head and think, do you know what? I'm gonna choose to love this person and make that person the person that I love today.
Yes, yeah, and a lot of women do that.
I do believe that.
I feel like men do that too now, because again, sometimes they've missed their mark with the person they did love, so they do.
So they just make it work with whatever. But that's the thing, and that's, I think, again, the beauty of life, because regardless of whatever mistakes you make along the way, you'll just always like, the mistake is never too great for you to be able to recover from. So you can. So for example, if you pass by somebody who was meant to be your person, you could still meet somebody who you can make your person, but it's not maybe the person.
Yeah, no, I still feel like you could, because if you can make somebody the person and you genuinely love them, that person's probably for you.
Yeah, but you'll probably be sat there in your room. You'll be sat there thinking, "That's Tanisha."
Do you know what? Do you know what? This has actually sparked some thought, because now I'm like, I feel like there is definitely more than one person for you, but there might not be more than one soulmate. Because I genuinely do not feel that there is just one person for you in the world. Because if there was, we wouldn't have been in love at 16. We wouldn't have been in love again at 21. We wouldn't have been in love again. The relationship
I was at 16 is definitely not the relationship.
But at the time, did you think that it was?
But that's the thing. But again, it goes back to life and the journeys. Regardless, if that was the person that I was meant to be with, no matter what, nothing would have essentially broke what we had. But because I feel... I 100% no. Because the thing is, as I've gotten older,
just said that you don't believe what will be. So that's two different things.
No. It's not.
That's why I said.
No. It's not, because at the end of the day, like, I feel like if the person that I met, like, let's say I dated somebody at the age of 16, and I thought at the time, like, oh my god, this is the person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life.
Yeah, which we all did.
That situation would have manifested. That would have just...
Sometimes it happens like that.
But then if it didn't happen, then I have confidence that wasn't the right person for me. Because because if I got to... I don't tend to leave situations and they be bad. So it's like, anytime I've broken up with an ex, it's not like...
We break up on bad terms.
Yeah.
To be fair,
and so I could have met him at a later stage in my life.
Yeah.
And potentially gone back there if I wanted to make that person the one.
Yes. But this is
I chose
Naomi.
But I can only speak from my experience, really.
This is Naomi.
And so for me, it was just as I get older, I get wiser. Yes. I think about things in a different way.
Yes.
I see things in a different way.
Of course.
It's part of life's journey. And so I can look back on those situations and be like, he seemed like the right person at the right time. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he was the right person for adult Naomi, for the rest of my life.
Yeah, because when we're younger, love doesn't really have logic. You just fall in love and it's head over
exactly.
heels. Whereas now love has logic, right?
Exactly.
But again, one soulmate. I feel like when you have a soulmate, the love sometimes does not actually have logic. The love is illogical sometimes, yeah. When you have a person that's the one, anybody can be the one, because a lot of people make that person the one.
But I agree. Anyone can be made the one.
Yes,
because you can curate that in your own head. You can create that ideology.
And a lot of women do. That's why I say there's more than just one person for people, because we do it every day.
But I feel like you create that, but then I don't believe that it's the actuality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't believe that person is actually meant to be the one for you. You've just made that person the one because maybe you're at a place in your life where you're just like, I'm ready to settle down, so I'm just going to make this person the one.
Yeah, and I hear it. And I thought, again, a lot of people do. And a lot of people, even people in relationships that are like now, they'll be like, yeah, this man loves me in a good way, blah, 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 and I love him. Does that mean that's their the one? Or did they make him the one? That's the question.
Like we should leave that question on that, and
let's ask the public.
Let's ask the
audience. Yeah. Oof. Do you feel there's a difference between the one and soulmate? And do you think there can be more than just the one person for you?
Yeah.
Or more than one soulmate for you?
Yeah. Let us know if you also want us to actually have an episode on this as well, because
it's an interesting topic. Yeah,
it's quite interesting. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this wineless episode.
I forgot it was wineless.
It was wineless.
We got too much into the debate.
But thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And if there's any conversations that you want us to pick up on or topics, let us know. Put it in the description.
The comment section.
We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
Bye.